Fox News confirming that the president is planning to withdraw troops from Iraq and Afghanistan. Colonel August Pfluger, Texas Congressman-elect, a Republican, joins us now. Colonel, what do you say to that? Withdrawing troops from Iran and Afghanistan to satisfy an election pledge before the end of the presidential term. What do you make of it? You approve?
Well, Stuart, thanks for having me. I was actually in the Middle East 4 years ago when Donald Trump took the oath of office fighting against ISIS. And as a commander-in-chief, he has delivered results. He has crushed ISIS. He's moved violent extremists back to where they need to go. And so, you know, he ran on ending endless wars. I think this is something that we can continue to discuss, but when he had a red line in Syria, he lived up to it. He protected liberty around the world, and I think he's done exactly what he said he was going to do.
If we withdraw our troops, does that endanger American interests?
Well, again, it's part of the discussion that needs to happen. One thing that he's worked on very hard is to work with our allies and partners around the world to strengthen their position to help out. He's done that in the Middle East. The district that I represent encompasses a large portion of the Permian Basin, which has a tremendous amount of oil and gas, and because of his ability to leverage that position, he is strengthening the Middle East. Just look at the peace deals that he's worked in the last month.
So I'm looking for an opinion here, Colonel. You approve of withdrawing the troops?
Well, what I think is it's part of a discussion that needs to continue to happen. That we
well, do you approve of it? I mean, do you approve of planning to withdraw?
Well, he said he's going to do that, and we need to continue to look at the troop levels, the threat. It's all dependent upon that threat, and that environment is constantly changing.
Forgive me, Colonel, but you don't sound very enthusiastic.
Well, I sound enthusiastic about the president and his ability to protect our country, our interests around the world, and this is a continuing discussion that needs to happen, and I trust that the leaders in the Pentagon, along with the National Security Council and the White House, are making the best decision possible.
Touchy subject, isn't it? So I'll move on to Texas. You're in Texas. It seems to me that red states, Texas, Florida, you give a lot of freedom of choice, allow individuals to make their own choice about their own risk. But at the same time, the number of cases is rising in Texas. What do you say to more restrictions coming to your state?
Well, I think when you look at Operation Warp Speed, the president said that we would have a vaccine delivered in record time, and he's doing that right now. And so those individual freedoms are based on the fact that we know that not all states are like others, and my state, my district is rural. Again, go back to the oil and gas production, agriculture, and we're not like the urban areas. And so I think at the local level, that's where these decisions need to be made about how we're going to counteract COVID-19, how we're going to emerge and get the economy back into gear.
Your district sits on top of the Permian Basin oil lake, I believe. So how do you feel about the incoming Biden administration, which may, move away from fossil fuels?
We're very worried about the rhetoric that we've heard from Joe Biden and the incoming thought process of a Green New Deal and things like that. And so we are fighting against that every single day. We take it very seriously. Again, 40% of the country's oil produced in the Permian Basin. This is national security importance. The world has benefited from the production in my district, and we will continue to fight for that because everybody, quite honestly, in this country has benefited from affordable, reliable energy out of the Permian Basin.
Colonel Pfluger, congratulations on your win in the elections, and we hope you can come and see us again sometime. Thank you, sir.
Stuart, thank you very much.
Yes, sir.